Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kandiss Creation. Thanks for joining us for a wire wrapping Wednesday. Don't forget while you're here, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to comment and please subscribe to Kandiss Creation. Enjoy. All right. So, what I have here is some 20 gauge wire. It's some silver non-tarnish wire. And I have this lovely blue stone. If you know what this stone is, please drop it in the comment section. Isn't it beautiful? It has a lot of good texture. You get to see what it looks like. I think they drilled a hole through it twice because that hole looks kind of awkward the way it was drilled through, but it still works. Those are my round nose pliers. You see both of my chain nose pliers. And Lord, my nylon pliers, they look a hot mess. I really need to get some more, but that's okay. And of course, I have some wire cutters used for cutting the wire. I used probably about a arm's width of wire. So I just rolled it off the spool and just kept rolling until my arms were out a good enough length. Um, I didn't use too much wire for this size stone. You don't need a whole lot. But it was great. And I just clicked off a little bit. And what you're going to see next is I'm going to have a little trouble feeding the wire through. But it didn't strip the wire or anything. It wasn't like there was something at the end that should have stopped me. I think they may have had an issue when they drilled through it and didn't drill through properly. But as you can see, I fit the wire through and it goes through. It didn't strip the wire or anything of that nature. I just keep feeding it all the way through. And I kind of feed it in so that it can get kind of even. You see me putting the two wires together so that I can make sure they're even. I hope you paid attention to that one end that was a little bit bent a little bit. Later on, you're going to see me straighten that out with my nylon um, pliers. Forgot to bring in this tool right here. So I believe this is normally used for people to make jump rings and see how it has the different sizes. I typically use the largest sizes on this tool to actually create my bells. I know there's a bell making tool, but I saw this and I was like, okay, this is a good way for me to make my bells. So right now I just pulled the other wire from the bottom and I pulled it up to the wire that was coming out the top and I'm getting ready to twist that wire around the other. And I just pull it really tight and flatten it down. Sorry, I kind of go off camera. And just twirl it around so that it stabilizes that wire. You don't have to do it too many times, just to stabilize it a little bit. You don't have to do it too many because for one, we're at the beginning of the wire wrapping and you're gonna have plenty of time, or plenty of wires, should I say, to stabilize the bell once it's done. So I kind of straighten out that wire a little bit so that I can bring them two together some. Then you're going to see me put that piece of tool and see I use the second one on here. So it's not the largest because it also depends how large the stone is. That stone is a nice good size, so I just use the smallest of the two for this one. And I just take it and wrap it around its neck, so to speak, if I had to give you a description of something. And I just wrap it really tight, so that those wires that are creating the bell can really be stable. It kind of created a crisscross. So I wrapped it around again. And now I'm going to wrap it around. Again, to stabilize it some more. Again, it doesn't take that much to wrap it around this part. You can do it 2 times, you can do it 3 times because you have enough wire, and you may eventually wrap it around that part of it again later, so you don't have to do it too many times. Now I'm gonna let you know this isn't a design that I've created before. A lot of times when I do wire wrapping, I just kind of go with the flow. Whatever I'm feeling. Um I felt like some loops at this time, so I just let my thumb stay there while I was doing the wrapping. So it kind of helps flatten out the loop. And I bring the wires around again to the back side so that it'll come back around to the front. Kind of looks like a present on the back. And I just wrap it really tight. That's why it takes a little bit of time. You see the way I'm handling it is because I'm trying to make sure the wires stay tight, as tight as possible. So I'm going to use my thumb again to wrap around the other direction at the bottom. I just love the loops and making loops. It's so simple but elegant in its design, and I love it. So now you see me taking the wire and wrapping it back around the neck part of the stone. Sorry, I kind of went out of camera, but I'm pulling it really, really tight. And also one of the wires has kind of gotten longer than the other, and that's okay. I use my nylon pliers to kind of pull tight so it doesn't put any more tension or scrape the wire if I was to use the um, round nose or the chain. Look at that design. It's so simple but yet cute. And so I just continue wrapping around as tight as I can. Isn't that beautiful? Who wouldn't like to wear that around their neck? I mean, you could do that with a t-shirt and jeans with a nice chain with it, or you could dress it up with a gown. Either way. And I just kind of continue wrapping that little piece around one more time. You can see it creates a nice hole. It's a perfect circle for the bell where you can fit your chain through good, or if you wanted to put it on a leather cord. So I'm actually going to take that smaller wire and wrap it around the bell just to kind of secure those wires together at the top. You don't have to do this. That's just the way I chose to do this particular design. Another person may have chosen to create a swirl, with what was left to finish that off. I just chose to tuck that smaller one in. And when I laid it down, I realized that it was still a little bit longer. You don't want that end to go through one side and hang off the other. So I used my wire cutters to um, cut it off so that it doesn't hang off and, scratch or anything of that nature. So I'm using the wire cutters to cut that piece off. Once I had flattened it, was a little bit difficult to get it to cut it off. So I end up having to pick up my other pliers to bend it open a little bit again. Yep, so that I could get to that little piece. It was only a small piece that needed to clip off. So you see I opened it back up so that I could get that down in there to clip it off. It's always good if you can to cup it so that you don't have those little pieces shooting all over the place. See, I was able to catch it in my hand. That way I can just put it to the side and won't have to worry about stepping on that later. And so now I can go in with the pliers and flatten that piece out and don't have to worry about that piece snagging on anything or scratching anything. And now I just have that one last piece of wire to finish up. And it's almost done. And if you notice, I didn't speed up the video or anything of that nature. Not one time that I speed it up. So you can see how quickly this, type of design can be done. It doesn't always have to be something that takes you days to do, even though I have those pendants where it's taking me days to complete. But I just wanted to show you how the simple wire wraps can also give you that same elegant look as well. So I'm just wrapping it around at this point. And so I chose to stick that through there just to give it an extra little something going on down the front. And as you can see, I chose to use my nylon pliers again because that helps to keep from scraping up the wire. And so I'm just checking out how it's going to look. And I bring it up the back and I'm pulling it tight. I don't know if you can tell or notice that I'm pulling it tight. And that's where I also got that crinkle out that was at the beginning of the video. And guess what I'm going to do with the end of this piece? It's just a little tad bit left. If you have guessed it, you are correct. I'm using those round nose pliers to just create a little swirl. Just a little one, not too much. I clip off a little piece. Once you use the round nose to kind of swirl it around to give it a little bit more of a rounded um, swirl, I just clip off that end piece. I held it. Where did it go? Guess what? It was still stuck on the pliers that time. I don't know if you guys noticed, but some of your pliers have like a magnetic so that it kind of sticks to the wires if it's little pieces that just get clipped off. And so I just continue swirling it right across that top piece. Sorry, I went out of frame again. And I use the flat nose to kind of flatten it out a little bit. I said flat nose, but sparkle pliers. I don't know about you all, but if you love to wire wrap, I know wire wrapping um it gives me a sense of peace and calmness. I don't know if it does the same for you all that may actually do this, or you may just be starting, but I love wire wrapping. I do. Can you see what it looks like? I looked at my hands to see if they were ashy. And sometimes if you see me right now, I'm using the nylon pliers to help round off the swirl some. Sometimes that can help you give it a good um, a good swirl too using those. And I just tuck that on in, make it flat. I'm still able to put the bell through, nothing snagging. I flattened it out, squeezed it in, and I'm done. Look at that piece. All you have to do is put your little chain through there. You could use a piece of leather, you can do a piece of ribbon, you could do a cord. You see how I grabbed those extra pieces to just give it a little twist? That actually tightens the grip that the wire has on the stone. So you don't have to do all of them. You can just choose a few of them and just twist it. And it actually makes the wire tighter. I typically do those on the back side, but there are some that I've done it on the front too that just added a little twist to the way the pendant looked at the finishing point. So it is all done. You can also use your nylon pliers to press and squeeze the wires. Again, it's a good way to not scrape your wire. Again, this is non-tarnish 20 gauge wire wrapped around this beautiful stone. Again, if you know what it is, leave it in the comment section of this video. All done, guys. Finishing touch. All right. Thanks again for watching this Wire Wrapping Wednesday. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to Kandiss Creations. Thank you so much. See you next time.